Imagine sitting around a table long after the lights should have been turned off. The kind of night where stories surface that don't usually get told. The ones that make you laugh, shiver, or glance over your shoulder just in case. Imagine voices carrying memories of places, people, and moments that refuse to stay quiet. Tonight feels like one of those nights, where storytelling becomes a little spooky, a little absurd, and a little haunted. On this episode of Spirits Uncorked, we're thrilled to welcome two voices who live for those kinds of stories. Becky and Diana, the hosts of the podcast Homespun Haints. So uncork a bottle, settle in for some good stories, and join us. All right, everybody. Hey, welcome to Spirits Uncorked. I'm Elizabeth.
And I'm Erica.
And we're very, very excited to introduce two great guests with us. Erica and I did a feed swap a couple of weeks ago in December with a great women-hosted podcast, Homespun Haints. Hopefully you caught it. It was a really interesting interview with Patty Negri. It was, and funny, a good roll in the hay. What was it called? A good roll in the hay with ghosts or something like that. Yeah. So hopefully you caught that episode, and we were really grateful to do that feed swap with them. But Homespun Haints, if you haven't listened to their podcast, they have so many great episodes. You could just listen and listen and listen and almost never run out of things to listen to. But it's a celebration of oral ghost storytelling, and they always have great guests on. And they have humor, emotion, they have stories from all around the world, and really great to have them on with us today. So welcome, Becky and Diana. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having us. This is a lot of fun. Yeah. This is what we live for.
And it's great that we've got two podcasts that are both women hosted with two women. So
a perfect quartet.
Yes. Yeah. I love it. Quartet. With that, we're going to start with what we're drinking. So, Erica, why don't you start us off?
Okay, I got gifted this. I live in a little, kind of a small, quaint neighborhood called Del Rey, and they just opened up their own distillery. It's called Orkney Springs, and I don't normally drink vodka, but I got this bottle for free, so... this is strawberry rhubarb vodka.
Ooh.
And yeah, I got it for Christmas from my neighbors. And they're also drag queens and they put on shows at the bar I work at all the time. It's awesome. Anyway, so thank you, Shane and Michael. I'm going to give this a go. I don't know.
You're just drinking it straight. Okay.
Well, I'm going to mix it, but I wanted to try it by itself. Actually, it's really good.
Is it sweetened?
So there's no sugar added. So I don't know. It's actually really smooth.
No, that sounds amazing. What's the brand of that again?
It's called Orkney Springs, and they have a bunch of different flavors, I guess. I got to choose mine. Sorry, I wish I could share.
I've never heard of that flavor of vodka before.
It's definitely a unique little place, and they opened a year ago. So I've been meaning to go. So I'm really happy that I got a free bottle.
Yeah.
Do you think that's available in the Atlanta area? That's where I'm at, actually.
I don't know their distribution yet, but I was looking them up online. So if you look them up, they do have a good website, and maybe you can order some.
Okay.
I'll put the website in our show notes.
I can also bring some down the next time I come to Georgia. So
there you go.
Yes.
Beth,
I chose my wine very thoughtfully today.
Oh, good.
I really did. So I was looking for something. I just went in the wine store and I was like, oh, I need something that speaks to me. And I don't know. I found this wine. It's called Baroness, and I picked it because it's a women-owned vineyard.
Oh, nice.
So I thought that was really cool. And it's vegan, but the grapes are Saint Laurent grapes, which is, I guess, a special kind of Austrian grape. And it's known for being really like fruity notes of cherry and raspberry. And it apparently pairs well with like roasted meats and venison.
We like to talk like we know what we're talking about.
Yeah, we do.
Most red wine goes pretty well with meat, so yeah.
I just learned today, actually. I was talking to a mutual friend of Diana of mine who lives in Germany, and she was talking about how most wine isn't vegan. I guess they distill it through bones.
Okay, that makes... Thank you for clarifying that, because when she said it's vegan, I was like, duh, like, I wouldn't have known. So, yeah, thanks for adding that.
Wine and maybe also sugar. Some
really?
forms of sugar.
Okay. Well,
they use bone char in the purification.
Oh my
gosh.
Yeah,
I didn't
Like
know
it has
that.
to have the special mark on it that it's vegan. Yeah.
I don't know. I was just like, of course it is. It's grapes.
Great.
Do you like
would
it?
think.
Is it good?
Well, okay, so it's red wine,
So,
which typically is not my favorite, but you know, like all red wine, you just have to sip it a little bit, and then you can kind of like get all the flavors out of it, and then start to appreciate it, which is true. I mean, I've like kind of been sipping it, you know, for a little while, and yeah, I like it. It helps that it's like cherry, like the cherry notes and stuff, because I like more fruity kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
are you guys drinking anything?
Yes, speaking of fruit, I've got watermelon juice and seltzer. Fancy cucumber on the rim.
It does look fancy.
Believe it or not, I stole this garnish from my dog, whose favorite treat is cucumbers.
Aww.
What about you, Becky?
Well, I wish I could say I was drinking something fun, but it's a school night for me. So I'm trying to be better and not drink on Tuesdays.
That's a fair rule.
But it's let me see, what the hell is this? I think it's pineapple juice.
Oh.
I think it's I told my husband to bring me something, and he brought me pineapple juice. He did not pour any gin in it, though. I bet that would be interesting.
Okay.
I do like mixing gin with just about everything, and I'm very much, talk about drinking wine out of a tumbler. I'm very classy. I usually stir it with my finger and just keep adding spirits until the juice is gone.
Yeah.
So,
Fair enough.
hence why I'm trying not to drink on a Tuesday.
Yeah. We hear you. We do that. I mean, some days you have to be a grown up. It happens.
Unfortunately.
So we would love for our listeners who don't know you guys to get to know you just a little bit. But I was wondering, I'm curious about the name of your podcast, Homespun Haints. Can you tell us, where did that name come from?
Well, haint, as you may know, being a Georgian yourself, is it's an old Southern word that means ghosts. And
I did not know that.
It actually comes from the Gullah Geechee language. And I guess it's kind of a hodgepodge of the word haunt and probably something else. So anyway, the word was something that the enslaved people in the Low Country of South Carolina used, and they also came up with the color haint blue, which you may be familiar with, which they used indigo, the same indigo that they were harvesting. They would use it and they would paint it around their window frames and their door frames to keep bad spirits out of their homes. And then it just became a part of the lexicon. We see haint blue now on our porch ceilings all throughout the South. And it's, if you talk to people in Appalachia, where I'm from, they think it's an Appalachian word. They don't even know that it originally came from the Low Country. So anyway, that's where haint comes from. Homespun comes from the fact that these are stories told by everyday people, things that happen to them. We do have a lot of paranormal investigators and mediums on the show, but when we started out, we were just talking to our neighbors, family members, anybody that we could convince to come on the show, because as our motto is, everybody has a ghost story. So that's where that comes from.
Very cool. I had no idea that about Haints. I had no idea. I'm not originally from Georgia. I'm from Nebraska.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We're from
No.
Nebraska.
I had no idea. I literally was like, I've never heard that word. I wonder what that means. So very cool. So what is it about like the oral storytelling that inspired you guys so much as opposed to like writing or some other form of storytelling?
Well, Diana, do you mind if I take this one too again?
Go for it. It was your idea.
So despite this very sophisticated veneer, I actually grew up a hillbilly in East Tennessee in rural Appalachia, and we were poor. We had nothing to do. Like, we had a mall, kind of, and I think a movie theater that showed 2 shows a month. There was not anything to do. Like, when the Super Walmart opened, it was a big deal, and that's all anybody could talk about. So what we would do to entertain ourselves is we would light something on fire and sit around it and tell ghost stories or any kinds of stories. In fact, where I grew up, storytelling was a profession. Still is. You could grow up to become a storyteller. One of my friends from high school, we actually had her on the show. That's what she does now. She's a professional storyteller. And when I was 17, I finally got the hell out of Dodge and moved to Chicago and realized that that was kind of a unique thing to that area. Well, first of all, I realized that I wasn't going to find other people that wanted to share in that oral tradition of storytelling without creating something like this with Diana, where we could bring people on. Because you know, you go to a frat party and you start asking people to tell their ghost stories, you get some weird looks. It did not go over very well. So this sort of was born out of my desire to bring this tradition that I grew up with, along with all of these spooky stories I grew up with, because again, mountains, log cabins, everybody has a ghost story. Everybody I grew up with had seen a ghost, encountered a ghost, lived with a ghost. Not just people ghosts, but cat ghosts, dog ghosts, bearded dragon ghosts. Like, everybody had a ghost story. So I wanted to bring that to the world. And that's essentially what we've done. And 7 years later, we have talked to people all over the world. And it has been just an amazing experience to really see how much of the storytelling tradition does, we can expand it. We can get it out of Appalachia and really get it out to the world.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Yeah.
We've done an episode on like Appalachia and the lore, and I've always been really intrigued by it. And I know this is gonna this sets people off, but I want to go, and I want to go outside and whistle and see what happens.
Did you see her face?
I know. I knew it was gonna upset people. I just want to do it. I want to see what happens.
I say do it. Go for it.
Yeah, go for it. Just make sure that
Erica and Diana are going to go.
Make sure we have copies of your will before you head out there.
I know. That's funny. So I'm curious, is there a topic, because we were talking about some stuff last week and I was getting pretty skeptical of it. Is there a topic that you secretly love but you pretend to be skeptical about?
Ooh.
That's a really good question.
Yeah. So I profess to be skeptical about everything, not just ghosts or the paranormal, but literally everything. I'm okay with changing my mind on anything at any time, and it's only a few sentences from changing at any given time, because I really try. I don't try. I just naturally consider every single viewpoint in total shades of gray. And so, I like to say that I am the skeptical one of the two of us. However, I also grew up in a haunted house, and I have seen ghosts with my eyes, and I've heard 300 ghost stories since we started this podcast. And so it's still really hard to claim skepticism when I believe all these people had these experiences. And so it's more of a, it's not that I'm skeptical that ghosts exist. It's that I'm skeptical every time someone explains how and why ghosts exist to me.
Oh, okay. That's good.
That is really good. So for me, something I secretly love but pretend to hate would probably be, so about every 10 people we talk to, somebody's been to a Civil War battleground, and it's always the same story. Building was a morgue at some point. People see, building was a morgue, all these dead bodies. People see a lot of replaying. There's a lot of like time tripping that happens on Civil War battlegrounds. We hear that story a lot. And every time I hear it, I roll my eyes. I'm like, oh yeah, another Civil War battleground. They're everywhere. You can't spit without hitting a Civil War battleground. And of course you're going to see ghosts and blah, blah, blah. But secretly, I love it. I love it. I dragged Diana. I dragged you to a few Civil War battlegrounds.
A few, yeah.
Yeah.
Across multiple states.
Yes, across multiple states. And I'm like, look at this. And of course, I love it when they have a museum with like all of the old medical equipment that they use to like saw off people's legs. And that's really, I go to those parts because I know Diana loves it so much. I'm like, okay, you stood out there with all of that, like the wheat field that looks like nothing. So here's a bone saw for your troubles.
I appreciate it.
Got to get a little gruesome there.
Yes, exactly.
It's definitely fun to look into like the historical facts of it. I love history, so it just goes hand in hand with like those kind of stories.
Yeah.
Have you ever like talked to anybody who has seen or talked to Abraham Lincoln?
Is that a common one you hear?
Well, now we all have to take a drink right now of our drink because it's a rule on our podcast. If we bring up Taylor Swift or Abraham Lincoln, we have to drink because we're weirdly obsessed with them. So.
Okay. All right.
So we find ways to insert them whenever we can. So you brought up the Civil War, so we naturally had to ask about Abraham Lincoln.
Okay. Well, we did.
Is that because you're from Nebraska?
No, I don't know why we just
Lincoln's
have
from Illinois.
Yeah, but there's a Lincoln, Nebraska.
There is
Oh,
where we're
oh.
from Lincoln. We're from
I assumed it had to
swear-
do with the president. No?
We really started noticing like this trend when we talk about it. And then we went to a Taylor Swift concert and we passed by his house on the way because it was in Indianapolis.
The universe is just telling us.
It's just pulling us. But yeah, if you have any Abraham Lincoln stories, we'd love to hear them.
I think the only one we have is we did do an episode on spirit photography, and there's a very famous spirit photograph of Abraham Lincoln's ghost because Mary Todd Lincoln was really into the supernatural and the paranormal, but
She was also like serious ghost hunter, like skeptic too, because she was trying to disprove some of this photography was real. So.
Yeah, and it actually wasn't. The famous Lincoln photo is completely made up. But we talked to somebody who was really good friends with, what is it, John Lennon's ghost? John Lennon and
Charlie
Kurt Cobain
Chaplin.
and Jesus. She hung out with them all the time, I think.
Cool.
Was it?
Okay.
Yeah. Was it Jesus? I don't remember. I don't know. It seemed like an odd assortment, but
Okay,
yeah,
so
she was like,
if you guys had your own like ghost dinner party, who would be at your ghost dinner party?
Ooh.
Ghost dinner party. Does it have to be famous people? I guess
No.
that's most interesting for everybody.
I don't know
else.
why, but Madeline Kahn just popped into my head.
That would be fun.
You know who she is?
I don't know
She
who
was,
that is.
do you see Young Frankenstein or Clue?
Yeah.
Clue. She was the one where she was like, when my head, like anger and blood coming out of me. Yeah, that scene or whatever it was. She's Miss White. Yeah, that's Madeline Kahn. She's like a comedian from the 70s, and I don't know why.
Oh yeah, she looks
Speaking of
really
hilarious.
hilarious. Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of
she's a
comedians
lot of
from
like
the 70s, I think Andy Kaufman would be a good one.
Yeah.
Andy Kaufman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To have at our ghost dinner. I can't really comment on why. I just, so many gags before Punked or anything was really a genre, right?
Yeah,
And
really.
just to hear how they were all set up and pulled off would be fun. What
Yeah.
does he have to hide now? He's a ghost.
Right.
I think
Sir Thomas Mallory. That's another weird one.
who's
I don't know who
that?
that is.
Sorry, I'm just pulling some weird. This is just what's popping in my head. Maybe you're downloading.
Fair enough.
So he was the guy. He was imprisoned in the Tower of London in the 1500s. He pissed off Queen Elizabeth or something, and while he was there, but he was like a very like high level prisoner. And while he was there, he asked for access to all of the King Arthur myths, and he is the reason that we have any of them now, because all the original manuscripts that he drew from are now gone. But he wrote down all of the myths, and so I don't know. I would love to know what he knows and why
Yeah.
he chose that.
That would be a
I
good one.
definitely, I was pretty basic. I think someone asked us this like a while ago, and I think I said Anne Boleyn, but like everybody says that.
Oh, it still should be cool to talk to.
I would love to talk to her, and I was excited because I got to go to the Tower of London and like see where she was beheaded and all of the torture devices. Oh yeah, it's a lot.
It is. Yeah.
I'm glad I like live in this time period.
We've said that a lot. We wouldn't make it in any other time.
I'd be dead.
God no. So dead.
Same.
Did you go to Westminster Abbey and see Elizabeth's death mask?
We did not get to go that far. We were only in London for like a short period of time, and then we went to Ireland. So that
Okay.
was yeah. It was
The
awesome.
most haunted experience I've ever had is in Bushmills, where the giant.
I
Broadway
went to
is.
Bushmills.
What was
It is one of our episodes. I I do this thing where I get on Google Maps and find someplace random to stay and then drag my family there. And it was a bed and breakfast that was built in like the 16 or 1700s or something, but in the backyard, literally in the backyard of this place were the ruins of a castle that had burned down during a red wedding, you know, where the groom's family comes in and kills the bride's family during the ceremony. That was there in the backyard, and we all got haunted. We all got like so haunted. My family still hasn't forgiven me. My son was temporarily possessed. My husband saw a ghost. Something
God.
sat on me. Huh?
How old was your son?
I think he was 9. He still laughs about it. Like he'll talk to his teachers. They'll be like, "How was Ireland?" He was like, "I was temporarily possessed," and I'm like, "Honey, let's not."
We don't need to advertise that.
Yeah, like our family, that's kind of cool, but other people's, yeah, maybe not.
That's funny.
So really quick, so what happened was they put us in 2 separate rooms. My husband and I were in one room, my daughter and my son were in another room. We were the only ones there in the entire building. There was a storm going on. There was no lights. The Wi-Fi was out. We were stranded. I mean, it was like perfect horror movie setup. Yeah. And at 2 a.m, my daughter came into our room because she heard footsteps in the hallway, which nobody's there. So who's making the footsteps? So she's in the bed with me, and my husband goes into the room with my son and tries to fall asleep. And there was like a little bit of light in there coming from the outlet in the bathroom. And about 5 a.m, he wakes up suddenly. And he looks over, and my son, who doesn't sleepwalk or anything like that, is sitting up straight in bed, but asleep, stiff as a board and frozen solid. And my husband starts freaking out, and he like starts trying to shake him, and my son's like stiff, cold. And then something catches my husband's eye, and he looks at the foot of the bed. And he sees a silhouette of a little boy at the foot of the bed, peeking up over the edge, and then disappeared behind the footboard. And the minute he disappeared, the life came back into my son. His skin got warm, he got soft, and he just lay down and went back to sleep.
That is terrifying.
So the next morning, my husband is basically pale, ashen, and he's saying things to me like, "We could have been in the Hilton in Belfast. What the hell are we doing here? Why did you?" And I kept saying, but this is the real Ireland. Don't
Right.
you want to experience the real thing? Yeah.
Wow.
So that's just part of what happened, but that was the... And apparently, we weren't the only ones who have seen the little boy, according to the owners.
That would terrify me. I was talking to Beth earlier and I was like tossing around some questions. And so one of them, if you were possessed, how long do you think it would take for people to notice? I think it would take people a long time to notice for me.
Well, it depends. It depends. You're a hard sleeper, so like if it was like a sleepwalking situation, I would not notice because you do weird things in your sleep.
I do. And like if I was working, I think people would notice, but like
Right.
otherwise, I don't think they would notice for a while.
It has to do, I guess, with how unlike me the demon is that's possessing me, or ghost,
Yeah.
whatever. But
Yeah.
I'm not unlike most demons, so I don't know if anybody
Yeah,
would notice
that's
ever.
that's my thing. I think it would take years for Diana and
Yeah.
me for people to
It could
notice.
take a long, long time. We could have been possessed since the beginning of this podcast 7 years ago. You don't know.
We don't know either.
That could
We
be,
don't know.
That could be a whole thing.
Diana and I went into the tuberculosis ward of Eastern State Penitentiary a couple years ago, and I actually
was
felt
heavy.
something jump on me, and yeah, it didn't leave. It was looking for
You
a
guys
ride.
are really, you've heard from so many different places around the world, and you've been to a lot of different places. So how do different stories differ by regions? I mean, what is the folklore, like how does that change depending on where the story is coming from?
Well, you're from the Midwest, so I'm sure that you know that when you ask people from the Midwest if they have a ghost story, they start, proselytizing and speaking in tongues and blessing you and pretending like they didn't hear what you said. And
Yeah.
that is the Midwest, and that's where I'm at, is the intersection of the Midwest and the Bible Belt. So it's we don't talk about ghosts. So yeah, I can't really tell you like dominant culture. There are other subcultures, I'm sure, that would have non-regionally specific ghost story techniques. But yeah, in Appalachia, everybody that I met, that Becky introduced me to, all across Appalachia is just, we have a ghost story, blah, 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 blah.
And they're very open about it.
Yeah, well, Appalachia's definitely very open. Yeah, as Diana said, I dragged her through. I was like, we're going on a road trip through rural Appalachia. We hit like 4 states in 3 days. Like I would go into just random places I didn't know anybody. I'd be like, hey, is this place haunted? And they'd be like, oh yeah, let me tell you. So
Incredibly swanky hotel,
yeah,
gorgeous
Yeah.
antiques all around.
That's what I grew up with.
$600 a night. Do you have a ghost? Yes, let's bring out photos.
oh
We've
yeah,
got
they would bring
photos
out
of the ghost.
photos of
Yeah.
the ghosts. Yeah. But in terms of the rest of the world, well, as I mentioned, like Irish ghosts, those things are terrifying. Like,
They are.
don't want to mess with them.
Yeah.
Like you'll get sucked into another portal and
Yeah.
be part of the wild ride, and your soul will be like lost forever.
Ooh, Wild Hunt. Yeah.
A wild hunt, thank you. Yes, Japanese ghosts. Oh, they sound terrifying. We had a guest on here who grew up in Appalachia, so he was like, "Yeah, ghosts." Like his dad, like had him pick out his own grave spot when he was a kid. Like he just grew up like that, and then he went to Japan, and he was like, "Oh, this is a whole different." Yeah, they're terrifying there. Like not like spooky terrifying, but like will suck your soul out like a fox eating an egg. And and I think, but like otherwise, like we've talked to people in Iceland, Germany, Australia. Ghost stories in those, like most
Tell
places,
us about Australia.
just like us, just
Yeah.
they're it's very similar. England,
Just like
France.
us, except they don't have an accent,
yes,
according to our guest.
yeah.
Yes.
We looked at our analytics and we discovered that we have like a lot of Australian listeners. So we're like,
Cool.
Yeah,
we need to learn
it's-
about Australia.
I mean, I'm always talking smack because of their spiders, but I don't have to go there. It's fine. I never will. I'll die.
And it's probably okay if you whistle in the woods there, right?
They don't have
woods?
woods. They have
Do they have
desert.
woods? I think they
True.
just have like
In the bush.
like a
Whistle in the
In the
bush.
bush.
Yeah, the bush.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they have some weird cryptids that they haven't discovered yet there, though.
Is there like a spot here in the DMV area that you guys haven't gone to yet that you'd like to check out, or suggestions for me to check out? There is a lot here, like Civil War stuff, historical stuff, but if there's something more specific that you think
The
is
Annapolis
interesting.
Cemetery is supposed to be really, really haunted, I think.
Oh, okay.
I've heard that. I'm sure you've been to the famous steps in Georgetown where The
Oh, yeah.
Exorcist was filmed.
Of course.
Um,
I haven't gone to like too many haunted places because Beth is in Atlanta and none of my friends will go with me. And so I just need to be brave and go by myself. But I don't know if I can do it. I should
You're
try.
pretty brave. You're pretty brave. You can do it.
But like to stay at a hotel by myself, I don't know if I could do that. You know, like
Just get Erica a man. My God.
that
Oh
likes
my
ghosts.
yeah.
Williamsburg? You're probably pretty far from Williamsburg, aren't you?
It is a little bit of a drive, but I have always wanted to go.
Yeah, definitely. We talked to a tour guide from Williamsburg who, boy, he had some stories. He had a ghost kill his bunny. Like,
Oh no.
I know, it was pretty sad. I didn't think ghosts could hurt you until he told that story, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Ooh."
One of my questions was going to be what's a ghost story that left you emotionally unsettled, not scared, but emotionally unsettled. Was that one of them, or is there a
Definitely.
different one that comes to mind?
Unsettling. Diana, do you have anything that comes to mind?
Oh, the story about the guy who had his... So it was being told by the perspective of the girl who moved into the house after this guy moved out. But the previous owner of her house had a swimming pool in the backyard. And when his wife died, he filled in the swimming pool with concrete. And ever since then, strange things have been happening in the house. And you think, well, of course, because you filled the pool with concrete, it's going to have some bearing on the structure underneath the house and the pipes and stuff. But then things started happening, like there were wet footprints going up their stairs, and things were like happening upstairs too, which wouldn't be explained by something on the ground level. And then
The
did that one
showers, the
culminate-
water would come out smelling of chlorine
yeah,
from the showers.
like a pool. And then it culminated with her laying in bed and having some kind of shadowy creature walk around the bed and sniffing her.
Sniffing?
Sniffing her.
Ooh.
Like an animal?
Right?
An animal? Or-
Like an
That-
animal, yeah.
That stuck with me more than any other story I've heard. That was just too unsettling.
Yeah.
Okay, so listeners, go find that episode.
It's called What Do We Smell Like to Monsters?
Yes, that one's one of our more terrifying ones.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
There's a lot of cryptid stories that I don't know that we've necessarily heard from guests, but that really scare me. Like, I didn't believe in cryptids. Be honest, I didn't believe in cryptids until we started the show.
Oh, really?
And then I started doing some digging, and I actually started looking at some of the old legends that were kind of hard to find from the region where I grew up. You know, my mom used to collect books from local authors when we lived in Tennessee, and so I have all these like stories that local authors would self-publish that you can't really find anywhere else. And I dug into some of them, and there's some like old Bigfoot stories, and they're terrifying.
There's so many. Well, there's a lot of sightings here in Georgia. I mean,
Yeah.
Becky,
Yep.
have you heard and seen any of the ones here in Georgia?
Well, I dragged Diana to the Bigfoot expedition or whatever, Expedition Bigfoot
Nice.
in Blue Ridge.
Get to see a Bigfoot, but we did get to see a Bigfoot dung.
Yes.
That was
Yeah,
odd.
they got Bigfoot scat. They got Bigfoot skeletons. They've got a very, very badly like 90s 3D animated film about where they think the Bigfoot came from. So
Okay.
that's the bulk of what I have seen is what was in that museum. I've actually never experienced a cryptid myself, which is a little bizarre considering I grew up in the woods in Tennessee, but it's possible I saw things and didn't know what it was, or just,
Yeah.
you know, I'm also one of these people that, as Diana always jokes around, like I'll see a ghost in the middle of the night and I'll be like, go away, I'm sleeping. And I'll just go back to bed. And so it's possible I saw something and I was like, you're in my way, go away. I want to get through this path or whatever.
Oh man, yeah, that's what I was gonna ask you, if you guys noticed a change in like your fear level from starting the podcast to now. Hearing all these stories, I don't know if that would make you more scared or less scared, because then it becomes more real when you hear from people. So,
But also
I don't know.
becomes like run of the mill, like, oh, there's
Yeah.
I think that's kind of, yeah. Initially, I was more scared because I
Okay.
actually was renting an office in a haunted building that I would record in at night, and that was terrifying because I would hear these stories, and then I was like, oh crap, now I have to lock up, and I'm in this like 19th century mill workers' house where the people were murdered during the Civil War, and you know, I just had to
Yeah.
close up shop. But now I can honestly say I ain't scared of shit.
Nice.
I'm maybe more scared than I was
Oh, really?
before this podcast started, because like I said, I grew up in a haunted house, and it was just I saw my great grandfather's apparition when I was 14, and so it just, to me, it was kind of just like, yeah, there's some things I can't explain. It's okay. It's probably nothing important. It probably can't hurt me, etc. And then, you know, hearing the story about the bunny, and you know, many stories about people having very negative encounters. Wow, our archive is full of negative encounters. But yeah, the first time I realized I was scared of ghosts now is when we stayed at the Nickerson Sneed house. One of the most haunted houses, probably the most haunted house in Abingdon. It was just the crazy stories, and like the Civil War morgue, and the
had a Civil War
doctor
morgue in
who
it.
might have been into torturing people or whatever. And all the creepy stuff. So we were given that tour and that history, and then we had a seance, and then we got sent to bed in that house, and that was the first time I really understood what the phrase "sleeping with one eye open" meant. Because I totally did. And it was very freaky, because I was in the original house, which had an outer shell of a house built around it. So in my bedroom, there were outside windows that looked onto a hallway that was full of Halloween, like huge animatronic monsters right outside the windows, outside the bedroom. And
That
so,
is
you know,
creepy.
So your first like experience with hauntings was like a comforting one with your grandpa or your great grandpa. Like you were
can't say
like
it was
that
comforting.
wasn't scary to you.
It wasn't scary, no, but it wasn't exactly comforting.
Oh,
It very much felt like he was wondering who I was and why I was there.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
And then it just got kind of scarier and scarier, like the more experience.
The more stories I listened to, yeah.
Has there been any like funny haunted stories, like
Oh yeah.
like
Oh, yeah.
absurd and goofy? What's like something totally off the wall, goofy, like you can't believe this happened? Like you said, bearded dragons.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
what-
we had a
is
ghost
that
bearded
one?
dragon. That was a weird one. Whew.
Everyone take a drink while we think.
What about the there was the guy who saw the like man with no eyes sitting by his bedside, but that was kind of terrifying actually.
That sounds horrible.
That was
Yeah.
terrifying.
That's
A
her
little
idea,
but
funny
yeah.
and off the wall.
I like the one where Tim saw the Japanese kami coming into the temple,
Oh,
and he heard
yeah!
heard the Cadillac driving up the driveway, and the older Japanese couple came in, and you know, into where he worked was a Shinto shrine, so it totally made sense that this couple was there, and he was greeting them and talking to them, and then basically left the room, came back in the room, and there's nobody there, and there's no car. But just the idea that, like, maybe they were deities because they were so like friendly and kind and smiley.
Yeah, they
and
drove up in like a 1970s Cadillac, and they were all dressed up for a wedding, like in like big old traditional Japanese garb, walking into the Shinto temple, and then poof.
gone.
Yeah, that's
So-
an interesting one.
Yeah, that one's called Kami Maybe.
So
Let's
I
see.
have to ask you, I have to ask Becky, since she's in Georgia, I have to
Okay.
ask you. I'm sorry. Believe me, I'm sick of talking about this.
I
But
know
I
what
have
you're
to-
doing.
I have to ask you about Lake Lanier.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I did a haunted cruise there. Back
You
in-
did?
Yeah.
I thought I had the
they
only
do.
haunted tour here.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Did you charter? Was it a charter?
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
a
charter.
haunted charter. Lake Lanier, yes, hella haunted. Holy shit! What 700 bodies under the water? They think. So I said I ain't scared of shit. I am scared of lakes. I actually hate lakes.
So does Erica.
Yeah,
I do.
3 things I hate.
Yeah. Same here.
Lakes, clowns, and small spaces. I'm fine with anything else. Anything else. Throw me in a room full of demons, and I'll be like, "Sup? Let's open a glass of wine." But small space, scary clown, lake, no. Where I grew up in East Tennessee is very much like Georgia. All the lakes are man-made. They're all flooded valleys because of TVA. So I have a very strong hatred for lakes because I know there's things underneath them.
Yeah.
There's, trees, churches, bodies.
Bridges, railroad
bridges.
tracks. Yep.
Yeah.
Racetracks.
Yeah, there's the
Racetrack.
racetrack under
Freaks me out.
Lanier. Yeah. Like, what the hell? And they built that right before they flooded it, too. It's like, yeah. So Lake Lanier, yeah, I think everybody in Georgia knows, like, there's like 1,000 TikToks at any given time about how haunted Lake Lanier is and how nobody will go there unless they're looking for ghosts or should go there. Like, I mean, my daughter will sometimes get invited out there, like on a boat with one of her rich friends or something. And I'm like, no, go to Alatoona or something.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Yeah, but I think Lake Lanier is weird because the local people don't really care for the haunted reputation, and it's the outsiders who really buy into the haunted reputation. So it's kind of opposite of what a lot of like local legends, in regions do. So I think it's kind of an outlier in a lot of like local folklore.
Interesting.
Yeah, well. I wanted to get your thoughts on that. It's a paradox because it's kind of a divisive subject,
It's interesting that it's still, you would think that we would have evolved past this, especially, for those of us that are closer to Atlanta's so diverse, and
Atlanta
we have-
is.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
have like such a rich history of like celebrating all the civil rights leaders that have come out of Atlanta and all that.
Not
But
40 minutes
Forsyth County,
northeast.
like
Yeah.
there wasn't a single black person that lived in Forsyth County until like
For 80 years.
2003. Yeah. Yeah.
Oprah did a
Creepy.
show on it,
Mm-hmm.
and the KKK came to kick her out.
Yeah.
I remember. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, Beth, do you want to do the rapid?
Yes.
Fire.
Oh, we have some. We have a lightning round
Cool.
of questions.
We got a lightning round for the first time on our last interview, and it was fun.
Oh, okay.
You don't have
So
to
let's go.
answer super quickly. If you want to take your time, you can. So lightning round at your own speed.
Okay.
So Erica, I'll start with my question, and then whenever you have a question, just interject. Okay.
I thought you planned this.
Oh, okay. If you have, if you think of a question, Erica, just jump right in.
All right. I can be, yeah.
Okay. Here's your first question. Most terrifying haunted object.
Dolls,
That's a good
specifically
one.
Robert the doll.
Gosh, I can't think of anything worse than Robert the doll.
Oh,
I'm afraid to even really say that. You're not supposed to talk about Robert the doll.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
It's the first rule of Robert.
I don't even know who that is, but I'm going to look it up. Okay.
luck.
Haunted trope that you secretly hate.
Trope from movies or that we've heard somebody
From
tell a real
anything.
story about.
Anything. Just something that you're sick of hearing about.
Demons.
Demons.
Demon possessions.
All right. If Homespun Haints had a signature cocktail, what would it be called and what would be in it?
We made one, didn't we?
We have a signature drink.
Okay.
The Diana
what
Spice
is it?
Latte.
What is it?
But you have another drink, Becky.
Oh, with the Diana Spice Latte. Yeah, we actually have that on Pinterest. It's
I don't even remember what I was making. But
yeah, but she's
freeze-dried raspberries and coffee.
It's so
That
weird.
counts.
But we also made a cocktail with when we interviewed Courtney because she's opening a bar.
That's right, with squid ink and creme de violette, aviator
nice.
gin, maybe.
We just called it the Homespun Haints, I think, right?
Oh,
Cool.
okay.
Okay, go Erica. What?
I have a question. What horror movie monster would be the worst roommate?
Oh, it.
Oh, that's a good one.
Roommate?
I was gonna say Jigsaw because have you seen those memes where
Yes.
he's like walking into
toddler.
the bathroom and he's like, "Your phone is gonna fall in the toilet in 10 seconds." Yeah, those are
I would
so
say-
funny.
So the first thing that popped into my head was actually the monster from The Thing.
Oh yeah,
Because it's because you never know who it is. It could be a doppelganger or it could be a roommate. So, but yes, definitely Pennywise would be a
yeah,
of
that's
that
that's
list.
good.
He never shuts up and never stops trying to eat you. It's ridiculous. Such an annoying roommate.
Well, you know what though? I bet it'd be the opposite. I bet he'd come home after a long day and put his like big clown shoes up and he'd be like, "Oh, you would not believe the day I had. These damn kids." And then you'd have to listen to all of his problems.
Okay,
That is the worst when a clown comes home and tells you his problems.
This is a
Hilarious
good
thing they do.
follow-up question then. Okay, would you rather be haunted by a child ghost who won't stop asking questions or an adult ghost who trauma dumps?
Adult ghosts. I already have kids.
I was going to say, you already live with the child ghost who won't stop asking questions, don't you? But I mean, pre-ghost. But
I think I'd want the adult ghost who trauma dumps.
I think I would do the trauma dump too, yeah.
would it be the same question every night and the same trauma story every night? Because that's how
That's-
ghosts work usually. It's just
Well,
rumination
then
on the
it
same
might
thing.
be. You'd end up getting over it, like the trauma dumping thing. You could just ignore
Yeah,
it.
you could be.
See, I like the question asking because you have an interaction there, right? Ghosts don't usually interact with me. The one that I would say interacted with me was my great grandfather, and that was just literally to look at me like this. Not really a stunning interaction with a ghost, so to speak, but yeah, having questions. I think if a child ghost came to my bedroom and said, "Diana, do you think blah blah blah," I'd come up with a different answer every night and see which one, because the ghost would reset at the end of the day probably and come back and ask again, and then I'd try a different one, whichever one worked best.
Like Groundhog Day, and you're just
right?
working out the different.
Yeah, like Groundhog Day. Perfect. Yes, exactly. That'd be fun. I think
So-
that'd be fun.
I'm a teacher. Absolutely not. Is it okay if I swear? I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's fine.
yeah.
You're sick of it. You're over the.
I'm over the questions.
Okay, here's my final question. What's the least scary paranormal creature, and why could you beat it in a fight?
The Loch Ness Monster. Not scary.
Oh, really nice.
The funny thing about the Loch Ness Monster is apparently because of the Loch Ness Monster, science happened in a monumental way because they were able to get funding for a project where they sampled like a ridiculous amount of DNA through the entire lake. Because people were
I
like,
didn't
"Oh,
know that.
they're gonna find Nessie. They're definitely gonna find Nessie. Let's do that."
That's awesome.
That is
That's a
cool.
good answer.
So you
Yeah.
you could beat the Loch Ness with science.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
that
Yeah, and
that
it's never hurt
that
anyone.
did beat it as far as
Like, there's no
well,
reports
exactly,
of it
right?
ever hurting anybody or like
It's
nothing.
just floating
yeah.
along, doing its thing.
Just living its life. My gosh.
Sightings, if the sightings have anything to do with real creatures, it's probably some kind of, what was it, an oarfish? I think either an oarfish or some kind of freshwater eel.
Yeah.
Or
Oh, yeah.
some people say it's a plesiosaur that somehow survived the
I think it's a
extinction of the
plesiosaur.
dinosaurs.
I know. I'm
See,
weird, but I think
but
it's
here's
a
the thing: I
plesiosaur.
could still beat a plesiosaur in a fight because it's not very good on land. It can't walk on its flippers,
There you go.
and I only fight on land because, as we all know, we're all scared of lakes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Leprechauns.
What?
Very good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now I know the fae folk in general are to be feared,
Mm-hmm.
but my mom always said the way to a man's heart is through his stomach, and I think I could beat any leprechaun by all I got to do is just make him a really good shepherd's pie, get him nice and full and drunk and some of that Guinness, and then what's to fight? Just let him pass out on my couch. He'd be a much better roommate than the thing. And then I don't have to fight him. You know, I've already won. He's asleep. And just
That's
put him
good.
out by the curb, by the dumpster, and let the trash man take him away.
Yeah. Okay, here's my last question. Because our last episode was on past lives. So,
Okay.
what were you in your past life, and what do you hope to be in your next life?
Ooh, that's
Still
cool.
trying to figure that out.
I want to be a white man.
We literally said the same thing.
We were like,
What's that
I would do
like?
this whole thing again if I could come back as a man.
Otherwise, I don't want to do it again. I was the one who was like, I'm over it.
Yep.
I just did a spit take with my Baroness wine, so.
Yay.
Future sponsor, yes, of this show. Wow.
Well, I had an astrology reading that told me that I had apparently been a telepathy researcher in Atlantis in a few of my past lives. I don't know if that's true or not because I don't remember, but that's what I've been told. But in the future, I do not want to be on this planet. I want to be an alien.
We didn't discuss those possibilities. That's a good one.
I don't want to be reincarnated, though. I think it's more fun to be a ghost forever.
Okay.
That sounds like fun.
All right. Well, I don't have any more questions.
Oh, I have a question for you guys.
Yeah.
If Taylor Swift were a ghost, what would be her unfinished business?
Maybe she would haunt Kim Kardashian or Kanye West.
I feel like she's doing a pretty good job of that right now.
Yeah, she is. She is.
Not unfinished. It's
Yeah.
Revenge is a good unfinished business. That's...
Well, she does, but she does all that now. She's
Yeah.
like getting
Yeah.
revenge on everybody.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
That's
She-
why like it's so good. She's like doing everything that I want to do,
Oh my gosh.
destroying everybody.
Yeah. I don't know if she would have unfinished business because she just does it right then and there.
The only thing is like she's never been anything but blonde. Maybe she would dye her hair like brunette.
That's a good, yeah.
She, but,
sense.
you know,
Maybe unfinished business for something fun, not necessarily revenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. If you were to dress as Abraham Lincoln for Halloween, what would you make his beard out of?
I would crochet a beard because I crochet.
Nice.
I would probably
pretty
make
cool.
it out of a wig, which would be super gross looking. But
I would crochet. It would be an amazing beard. I would crochet it. It would look amazing.
I'd have to,
Becky
like-
for Halloween and dressed up as a cult leader, and I made a beard out of a paper plate and the little tufts of, you know, when you open a bottle of vitamins and you pull out the tuft of white stuff.
Oh, that's
I made a beard
clever.
out of that.
Yeah, most people would have gone and bought cotton balls, but not Diana. She just
I had them.
Trash.
You have them.
I used the plate before cutting it. No, I'm kidding.
It's a great photo. Diana will have to send it to you. Or it's
Oh
a
my
cult
gosh,
leader.
yeah.
She's wearing my pants.
Yeah, I'd probably
cult
just
leader pants.
manipulate a wig or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Or you could like take, you have long hair, so you could just like
Right.
take your
I could
long
just
hair
use
and,
my
like,
own hair. You're
Yeah.
right.
There you go.
You need to
Make
braid
it even
first.
weirder. I know, I'd have to like get it all kinky. Yeah.
All right. So Becky and Diana, just in closing, I just want to ask you one final thing about storytelling and ghost stories. Why do you think it's so important for people to hear these ghost stories? Why do you think it's so important for people to gravitate towards them? And what kind of stories do you hope that people hear more of?
Well,
that's a good question.
one thing that we've heard from some of our guests is that talking to us is like unpaid therapy.
Right.
They have had something happen to them, and let's face it, for most people, not necessarily for me and Diana, but for most people, seeing a ghost is pretty traumatic. And they're living with this event that happened and changed them, affected them, scared the shit out of them, and nobody believes them.
Right. The people who they love the most and trust the most don't believe. Yeah.
And we're like the Ghostbusters. We're ready to believe you. And we always say that whether or not we do believe what people say, it's their truth, and we honor that it's their truth.
Yeah.
And we've had a lot of people who listen say, it's so nice to know I'm not the only one. And I think that is, that's not, I mean, when I first had this idea, I was like, oh, I just think this will be fun. It's kind of like an unexpected side effect that, believe it or not, we're actually helping people because they realize that they're not alone, and other people have these experiences, and other people are willing to believe them for it.
Yeah. So it's almost like the ghost story is more about the person telling the story than the story.
Absolutely.
Yeah, or even the person listening to the story thinking, oh, I thought I was the only nutty person who thought I'd seen a ghost, but apparently it's more common than I thought, because here's 300 ghost stories from people who have, firsthand experiences. And yeah, that was kind of the boat I was in when I first had my, when we first started the podcast. One of the things we did was every 10 episodes, one of us would tell one of our paranormal stories.
Yeah.
And, it took me forever to tell the one about the bathrooms, because I was like, everyone's going to think I'm crazy. It's nuts. I can't. And nobody said that to me. Everybody was like, oh, that's an interesting story. But nobody made me feel bad about it, and that I think is what we're doing for everybody who has a ghost story, is just the idea of being able to listen to people who are talking openly about it and see an audience of people accepting it.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, where can people find more of Homespun Haints?
We're on all social media at Homespun Haints, the Homespun Haints, which autocorrect will correct to something else. So it's HOMESPUNHAINTS. But we're also at homespunhaints.com, where you'll have access to all of our old episodes and a really, really, really wordy blog.
Yes, Diana has written some amazing articles for our website, not just show notes, but also she's done some deep research into some of the topics that we've covered. And we've also got Most Haunted Places in America blog, so you can like look up different places and see some research into them. And we try to bring stuff that you're not going to find anywhere else. We try to make a point to interview people who actually live in these places, so that we can give more of an insider's perspective, not just the same stuff you're going to find everywhere else. You can also find us on YouTube at Homespun Haints.
Amazing. All right. Well, Becky and Diana of Homespun Haints, it was wonderful talking with you. We had so much fun, and we hope that we can talk to you again soon.
I hope so too.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys so much for being here. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.